Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Full Circle Lithium's webinar. This is Trevor Brucato with RBMG, Full Circle's US-based investor relations firm. Full Circle is listed on the TSXV under the symbol FCLI and on the OTCQB under the symbol FCLIF. Joining us today is the company's CEO and founder, Carlos Vicens, who will be going through Full Circle's FCL-X solution that quickly and sustainably extinguishes lithium-ion-based, battery-based fires, plus a recap of 2024 achievements and upcoming 2025 milestones to look forward to. Following Full Circle's presentation, we'll be addressing questions that can be submitted throughout this presentation, and you could do so by taking a look at the Zoom Q&A module at the bottom of your screen. Please note this presentation is being recorded today, February 27th, 2025, and will be made available on the company's website at fullcirclelithium.com, and you can see it also on the screen at the moment. Following today's event, the company's investor survey will go live and will be circulated by email. The results from this survey will develop trends on Full Circle's perceived strengths, weaknesses, and milestones, which will be very helpful in strengthening the company's investor communications efforts and will guide the focus of upcoming events. Your participation will be much appreciated. Please note today's presentation may contain forward-looking statements that are subject to risks and uncertainties that may be out of Full Circle's control and should not be construed as a recommendation or solicitation or to buy or sell any security. For the full disclaimer, again, it is fullcirclelithium.com. Lastly, RBMG is not a registered investment advisor or broker-dealer. For more information on us, please visit rbmilestone.com. And now it is my pleasure to turn it over to Full Circle's CEO, founder, Carlos Vicens. Carlos, stage is yours.
Thank you, Trevor. Thank you very much. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about the two main founders here at the company. My name is Carlos Vicens. I'm the CEO, director, and founder. I've been in the industry about 25 years, essentially raising money, doing M&A and acquisitions in the mining and commodities world. I've worked in investment banking. I've been involved in lithium for about 15 years. I was the CFO of Neo Lithium prior to this. And Paul Fornassari, another founder and non-executive chairman, he's been a law practitioner for the last 30 years in Canada, and he's been a founding member and chairman of Lithium Americas and also Neo Lithium. And he's been involved in many lithium related transactions. So I just want to give you a little bit of a background of who's at the helm here and who's calling some of the shots for the company. In regards to Full Circle Lithium and our fire suppressant agent FCL-X, this slide has a lot of information, but I wanted to go through some main points here. One is that this is a US-based operations, and we have a fully operational plant in the state of Georgia in the US. We're focused on FCL-X only. We have a proprietary patent on our product, and we are already experiencing sales for our product. We're generating revenue, and there's significant, I would say, capacity at the plant to grow revenues from where we are today. The product itself, FCL-X, is already been tested in many different ways. It's safe, effective, and efficient. All technologies used here are conventional in terms of the manufacturing process, and it's protected by proprietary IP. We've already extinguished fires, small, medium, large, in terms of EVs, as well as industrial live fires. We've tested this product both internally and externally with third-party labs, as well as in front of many industry participants, as well as industry firefighters, industry professionals as firefighters and government officials. Our product is safe because it has no hazardous chemicals, no forever chemicals, and it's safe to use, and it's safer to use this product than any other product out in the market. As you may have heard in the industry today, there are many fires, there are many incidents that have occurred. Just most recently, there's been 4 large breakouts of fires. So that gives you an idea of how fast this this comprehensive solution is needed. So it's not only local or regional in the U.S., it's global. We've just gotten notice of fires of ships in the ocean. We've got fires in the UK, Asia, Korea, US, and everywhere in the world. So this is not just a local problem. And the lithium-ion battery growth is expected to grow anywhere between 3 and 5 times over the next decade. So it's not going to get any simpler in terms of putting out these fires. So there's going to have to be some sort of solution for these fires, and we believe we have that solution. We have numerous distributors already working with us, and we're expect to grab more of these as we go forward. Our team, as I started at the beginning, is very strong. We have over 100 years of firefighting experience within our team. We've hired we have 3 firefighters in our team now, with close to 100 years just on the firefighting experience. And we also have significant experience on the capital markets as well, which is important. You have the technical expertise, but you also have the capital markets expertise, as we're obviously a public company. We have very strong support in the state of Georgia. There's over 100,000 gigawatts of gigafactory and other battery related industries that are being built in Georgia. So it's a good place to be at the moment. So what is FCL-X? So as we started this journey, our journey started in the recycling side of batteries. So this is where the initial steps for FCL-X got created. We needed to, I would say, develop a liquid that we could take batteries apart safely. And this is were the initial steps of FCL-X. Over many tests, and we're talking about hundreds or not thousands of tests, we've created a solution that not only is capable of addressing the recycling of batteries safely, but we obviously created something else that was able to put out lithium-ion battery fires when they occur. So when we did that, we created an innovative fire extinguishing agent, and we named it FCL-X. And this was done back in 2020. Well, it all started in 2023, but the initial concept of FCL-X started back in 2024. When we started testing different sizes of batteries at our plant. It's a water-based product, meaning that there's an active ingredient in the product. It's 97% water, 3% active ingredient. It's non-hazardous. It neutralizes all the reactions that are happening at the cell level, which is very different from any other product. It creates a protective layer on the elemental lithium that reacts with the air and water. It essentially stops the hydrogen generation at the cell level, which means that it stops the continued growth of temperature, hence the fire and the off gases of the battery that happen when the battery's breached or has any issue when the fire starts. We've also filed a patent last year in North America, and that would include Canada and the US. And we're also looking to file patents in other parts of the world as we share this product internationally as well. In terms of the testing that we've done here, not only internal but external, we've done tests at Safe Labs, which is a very prestigious laboratory in North Carolina, as well as in the Netherlands, called the Dutch NTA 8133 test. We validated our results there, and all the results came back, meaning that this is a rapid, effective, safe, environmentally friendly solution to end lithium-ion battery fires quickly without major issues of expanding the fire to other equipment and other parts of I guess the area where the fire starts. The test, again, like I mentioned, it was demonstrated numerous times. We've done it in front of professionals and industry participants, such as government agencies, car manufacturers, first responders, and other important, I would say, participants within the industry. And it's never failed us to put the fire out quickly and effective. I'll take you some of the slides that will provide you with a little bit more data on how the product works. So as you know, these are some of the instances where a fire happens. It could happen when the trash gets picked up. It could happen at a e-bike or scooter repair shop. It can happen on an airplane. It can happen at your home with your EV car, where you park your EV car. It could happen on the streets where a car is being driven or has gone into a crash. And of course, the one on the bottom right, it can happen on industrial level fire. So these instances happening all the time. Every day you see a new news release about this, but just since October, we had 4 large industrial level fires. We've had a lithium recycling battery in Missouri, which we participated in, and we put the fire out. We've had another fire in California at Moss Landing. This was a 1,000 megawatt battery facility. We've had, over the last few days, we've had 2 fires, one in Spokane, Washington, which destroyed another lithium battery recycling facility, and as well as in the UK, which is another battery recycling depot in the UK. So this is just over the last 3 or 4 months, you've had 4 industrial fires. And of course, you've had many instances of retail, commercial, industrial fires as well along the way. So this is not a problem that just happens every once in a while. It happens a lot more than you think it does. These are some of the burns that we've done to test our product. We've done now 5 controlled EV burns. We burned 3 Nissan Leafs and we burned 2 Kia vehicles over the last, I would say, 6 months. The current market approach to an EV catching on fire and depends where you are and depends on the circumstances of the fire, but the typical response is let it burn. So if you see a fire on a parking lot or on the highway, on the street, the fire response team would just let it burn, let the power of the battery just burn out. But that is not the right approach. If you ask any fire first responder, they don't like to do that, but they've been essentially told to let it burn because there's no solution to put out the fire. If they do apply some product, they usually apply water. And if you apply water, it's 10,000 gallons of water at minimum. I've seen instances where they applied over 50,000 gallons of water. It could take hours, if not days, to put out a car, meaning if you let it burn, it could take 4 or 5 hours when you sit it there and let it burn. And then you put it on a container and then you essentially take it aside from where it is and let it sit there for weeks, if not a month, to see if it catches on fire again. So letting it burn is not the right solution, but many people or many instances, the first responders take that approach. And just to give you an idea of the cost of just letting it burn in the US specifically, and I just came from a burn earlier this week in Florida, closing a major highway in the US can cost about $1.5 million a minute. So in our mind, this is not the right approach of letting it burn, because as you can see on the results that we have on top here on the videos, we have taken, we've done 5 of these. The one that has taken the longest for us has been a 7-minute burn. And we've only used at max 400 to 500 gallons of water. So this is effectively a very, very, I would say, efficient product to use for anybody and any type of battery. And we're talking about medium, small, large, and industrial base. Like I said, I'm going to put this, let me put it on mute, but let me see if I can put this video bigger for you guys to see. A second here, so hold on. So this video right here shows the effectiveness. It's only a 2-minute video, and it's good for everybody to see it, so you get a sense of, how this product works and how efficient it is. So this car right here is an EV6. It's a Kia electric vehicle with almost an 80 kilowatt hour battery. You can see in the back the fire truck. That fire truck has about, I think this one specifically had 500 gallons and not 1,000 gallons. It's not connected to a fire hydrant, so you're able to understand that we don't need a fire hydrant. We're 100% sure that with 500 gallons we can put out a car. This is the counter that you see here. This is done double time, so it is done a bit faster than usual. But one firefighter with one hose is able to put a complete car out, whereas typical fire response would be 2 or 3 trucks at least of 1,000 gallons each, and then they hook it up to a fire hydrant with multiple firefighters attacking the car. And you can see here that in about, it will take about, usually it takes another minute here, but it will be about 5 minutes that we put out this car completely out with no reignition and no overburden, or I would say significant amount of water used, which usually creates a hazardous, of water running or running into any creek or whatever is that is close to the fire. So you can see there that in about 4 minutes and 50 seconds, the fire is completely out and it did not reignite. You don't see it in this video, but behind those gentlemen, those firefighters, there's about 75 firefighters watching this. And we've done this multiple times. So we expect to do this in many other instances where we can show how our product works and essentially generate sales of the product. So going back to the presentation, here is where I want to explain a little bit about, I would say, the technicality of our product. There are different hazards when a lithium fire starts. Obviously, one is the fire itself and the flames and the heat. Heat can go up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit quite easily. In fact, some of the fires have gone up to about 1,300 Fahrenheit. But some of the hazardous that nobody talks about are the off gases. So we're talking about toxic fluoride, phosphorus gases that come from the electrolyte. So every battery has a anode and a cathode, and in between they have an electrolyte. And inside the electrolyte, you have very toxic fluoride gases that come out. This is one of the most dangerous inorganic acids out there. And it's been shown that some of the concentrations can reach 600 ppm in the fumes, and the immediate danger to life is only 30 ppm. So if you're in an enclosed facility or inside a car and there are fumes coming out, you could die just because of the fumes, let alone the heat and the fire. So that's something that everybody needs to be aware of. But what I wanted to say about this is that our FCL-X product reacts with that lithium hexafluoride phosphate acid in the electrolyte, and it forms a inorganic or non-hazardous salt that precipitates and eliminates all the formation of fluoride acids, including hydrogen fluoride. So what that means is that it not only puts out the fire, as you saw in the video that I just posted, but it eliminates the hazard from the off gases that are coming out of the battery. This is something that no other product in the market does, period. So we not only put out the fire, we put it fast and efficiently, but we mitigate the hazardous off gases that come out of the fire, which is essentially a revolutionary way of looking at lithium-ion battery fires. And that's been proven on every single test that we've done. So the way it puts out the fire, to go a bit more technical, is that when the battery is breached and the elemental lithium reacts with the air or the water in its environment, it essentially creates hydrogen. Hydrogen creates heat. Heat creates fire. Our FCL-X product, what it does is that goes into the cell of the battery. It creates a buffer or protective coating to that elemental lithium, and it reduces the heat and the hydrogen generation, which stops the fire. And it does so very quickly. In fact, some of our tests that we've done on some batteries garner results that are 10 times faster in terms of heat reduction than water, and about 5 times faster than any other product that we've tested. So that tells you a little bit about the difference between our product and other products, as well as we can go from a temperature of 500 Fahrenheit to about a 120 degree temperature in seconds. So that's what you want to see in agents that are fighting fire, specifically lithium-ion battery fires. That gives you an idea of what we've done, what our FCL-X product does, and now what's the opportunity of that product going forward. So lithium-ion batteries are relatively new. Of course, they've been around for a while, but the issues surrounding lithium-ion battery fires are now becoming more evident. And they're in our face almost every day. So there are no third-party reports telling you, what's the opportunity for a lithium-ion battery agent. So we've done a lot of work internally to understand what that potentially means. And, the market itself is growing in terms of lithium-ion battery fires. Like I mentioned before, the lithium-ion battery market is expected to grow, 20%, 15 to 20% over the next decade, growing three to five times where they are today. So this is a massive growth on the lithium batteries that are going to be in the market, let alone the ones that are currently in the market. So in our estimate today, the addressable market just in North America for any type of fire suppression, which includes lithium-ion batteries, is about 8 billion. And there's a lot of discussions of what percentage of that could be related to lithium-ion battery fires. A lot of what we've taken from certain reports is about 20% of that. So our market is approximately today about $1.6 billion in North America. It's only. That will grow in the next 8 to 10 years to roughly 2.5 billion. And that's just in North America. Now, granted, that has a lot of, I would say, assumptions within that calculation. But just to give you an idea that the market could be anywhere between 1.5 to $2.5 billion just in North America. And that is just 1/3 of the total addressable market globally. So North America would be, let's say, 1.5 billion to 2. Europe would be 1.5 billion to 2. And Asia would be 1.5 billion to 2. So the opportunity is large. It's massive. It has a significant amount of addressable markets or verticals within that addressable market that we're attacking at the moment. And we expect to do that not only regionally, locally, regionally, but also internationally as we develop our product line and as we develop our distributors, both locally, regionally, and global. Some of the products that we developed over the last few months are here on this page. Our proof of concept got completed in June of last year. So, we're close to a year now of essentially having proven the product itself internally. Of course, we went through a lot of third-party testing to go through that, but we sold product of June of last year, albeit very small. But as of December of this year, we had about $300,000 of sales, which is significant. And we're now growing our sales to close to double that as we speak today. But there's significant more where that is coming from, and hopefully we kind of turn the corner, and the hockey stick will be right at the corner this year into next year. We've done numerous product presentations. So these are some of the products that we're now selling into the market. We have an extinguisher, one size only today, but we're going to have many other sizes as we develop some of the markets. We have bulk product, meaning we buy it in bulk, means buy it in thousands of gallons of water, liquid or agent. And we also have what we call our FCL-X Pro and Pro Max, which is dry product. Why a dry product versus a wet product? Because a dry product travels faster. If we need to ship it into further locations, it's much cheaper and easier to ship dry and then mix with water at the location of the fire. So for example, if we're looking at the verticals of the firefighters or the first responders, municipal first responders, they can have that dry product in their truck, and then when they're needed, they essentially mix it in their tank, which is what you saw on that video that I mentioned to you when we put out that Kia EV6 fire out, EV9, sorry. So we signed several master distribution agreements already. In October, we signed one with AAST. In December, we signed it with US Fire Pumps, the largest emergency response team in the world, or at least in North America. We're now assessing a lot of other marketplaces and different types of formats of product. And we're also looking to grow in different verticals. One of our main verticals that we're attacking very hard is the municipal firefighter market or first responders, because they are the professionals. And if we are able to penetrate that market, that I would say that news and that knowledge of our product will grow substantially. So for us, it's very important to do these demos in front of, if not dozens, hundreds of firefighters. And we are doing this at least once a month. And we'll continue to do so all this year. But that doesn't mean that we're not talking to electrical vehicle manufacturers, battery energy stores, industrial and commercial. places as well. And we're also looking at assessing international locations as well to deliver these products, but that will take a little bit of time, but we're already in those discussions today. So in summary, we are a U.S. operations with a very, very important solution to a problem that is currently happening today, both locally here in North America, but also globally. We have all the plant is in full operation. We have significant capacity to meet that potential demand. The current lithium-ion battery market is growing fast, not only in North America, but globally. So it's not a small market, it's not a niche market, it is a very big market with potential uses on many different verticals globally. We have the team to make this happen. We've hired firefighters, we've hired salespeople. We have our outsourcing right now, of course, like I mentioned, our sales staff to a certain extent to distributors. So we're making those agreements on over the last few months, and we're expecting to grow that both regionally and globally. So expect more of that to come. We have done many different types of designs from our product to meet distinct demands for different types of verticals that we're attacking. So that is very important. We don't just have one product. We have many different types of our FCL-X product and many different types of usage. So like I said, we have bulk, we have extinguisher, we have dry product. I'm going to continue to develop new products, but all of them are rapid, effective, safe, and environmentally friendly, which is an important and fundamental part, and they've all been demonstrated. Proof of concept is there in all types of batteries. And when I say all types, all different types of EV batteries, small, medium, large. We've been active in industrial lithium fires, like I said, on the Missouri fire lithium fire. So we tested this at a very large scale, and it was significantly positive in terms of what we did there. We have patents to protect our product, and we'll continue to protect those products. They're in process, but we have patents that have already been introduced, and we'll defend that patent not only in North America, but also outside of North America globally. And sales are underway. So expect some of these sales to come forth over the next few months. Now, in terms of accomplishments, and I wanted just to kind of end with this slide and maybe talk a little bit about the next slide, is that we've done a lot this year. Well, when I say this year, this past year, 2024, where the proof of concept was happening, this has gone faster than anticipated. So that's a testament to our team. We've announced the first sales of our product. We signed 2 master distributors. We've sold over 300,000 US in product. So that's a massive, massive win for us, and we'll continue to develop those sales over this year. What milestones are we looking for over this 2025 calendar year? We're going to be increasing these sales over the next few quarters, and we'll be reporting our Q4. I think it's out either today, if it wasn't out yesterday. So, obviously Q4 did not have sales. All Q1s are starting Q1, which our Q1 starts in November. Our year end is October 31st. So all the sales, the majority of our sales start November and into our last day quarter, which is January. So you're going to see our Q1 financials end of March next month. So you're going to see some of that. We're going to try to expand our sales internationally and expect some of those news coming forth. In fact, I'll be in Korea and Japan next week, attending a battery conference and speaking to a significant amount of parties there to see where we can work together on the distribution side and also on the end user sales side. We're going to be looking for new product development and commercialization efforts within FCL-X product line, and that will help us extend and grow our sales as well as attack different types of markets, both on the retail, commercial, industrial side. And we're going to strengthen these partnerships over time into Q4. So, that would obviously help us with some of our sales going forward. Before I end, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the capital structure, which is very simple. We have about 75 million shares outstanding today. We are trading in and around the 40-cent share price in Canada on the TSX Venture. It's about a 30 million market cap company today. We have some warrants and options outstanding today. and we have about $1 million cash at the corporation. With the sales that are currently happening today, that should be enough to keep us afloat and grow our sales and our cash position and working capital over this year. And our insiders own about 30% of the company, which is important. We're all vested within the company to make this company succeed. So with that, I want to kind of end the presentation with this slide. There's a lot more data and detailed information that I can answer. And if there's any other questions, I'll be happy to answer that. Trevor?
Thank you, Carlos. Everyone, we will open up to Q&A. If you have any questions, again, you can submit them in the Q&A module. Carlos, firstly, congrats on your recent success on commercially launching this product and the success in calendar year Q4. It's just happening quickly, which is great to see. Let's kick off with why you got into this product, the product side of lithium, after your successful exit of Neo Lithium, the mining company.
Sure. So like I mentioned before, I was a CFO there, and I also kind of ran all the North American investor side of things. And I traveled essentially the world telling the story about Neo Lithium. But the upstream side of the business in the lithium space is long and hard. From discovery to production or ready to build, it could take a decade, and that's if you have a good product or a good, I would say, mining jurisdiction, as well as the permits and everything. So it is a long berth. It's not easy. You got to raise a lot of capital. So it's capital heavy, it's time heavy. And, when I looked at the market after we exited in Neo Lithium, it was a pretty good win because we had a good project. I think we IPO'd at around 60 million Canadian, and we ended up selling the company for 1 billion Canadian after 7 years of going through that process. But at the end of the day, everybody was asking on production and the downstream of that mine, and we really wanted to go downstream because we believe that on the downstream side of things, there are many pockets, specifically this one that you're seeing today, that are capital light and can generate significant margins faster to stakeholders and investors. So that's exactly where we wanted it to be. Now, things have kind of moved around a little bit in terms of the market with lithium pricing and so forth. So, and specifically on our product, lithium is not where lithium price is not really any concern to us because we're not selling a lithium product. We're selling a product that fights some of the concerns that are in the lithium industry business. So the lower the price of lithium, which is now low, the more adoption in batteries are going to happen in terms of worldwide adoption. So the more batteries are going to come out. So the more batteries that come out, theoretically, you're going to have more incidents in terms of fires in the market. So, one of those things that benefits us is low lithium prices. But at the end of the day, I think I think of it as a capital light business where you can essentially generate revenues and cash flow to stakeholders with, I would say, minimum capital, both on the ongoing commitments, but also on the OpEx side and monthly expenses. So that's why we got into this business. And it's a very large business with very little competition as well. So that's kind of a long-winded story, but that's kind of my thought through that question.
Yeah, no, you're removing the exploration risk. The traditional
That's right.
mining sense, there is risk obviously involved in that. And sure, any company has risk. But with what you're focused on the downstream side, on the product side, your experience, you guys are seeing, the ins and outs of this sector and the growth, not just over the next, few years, but, decades. So it's interesting that you guys have a little bit of a niche in this market where you guys are focused on an untapped market, if one wants to say that.
That's right.
So the next question here, you brought on 2 strong distributors for support in the U.S. initially. So maybe you can talk high level about, the caliber of those groups, but also, have you seen, how have you seen the international market shape up?
Sure. So, there's 2 ways to go about any product rollout, right? I mean, you can have an internal sales staff and hire a whole bunch of people to try to sell the product, or you can, in this case, what we did is that we outsource our sales staff to distributors. Usually that's what happens with these types of products, where established large distributors that have a foothold on certain regions and already have the connections to firefighters and all the fire industry participants already have those connections. You go into them and then you sign an agreement where they have exclusivity for the product in certain regions and so forth. So that's what we ended up doing. And that has brought in a lot of interest very quickly. If we would have done otherwise, first of all, it's more expensive in terms of OpEx for us. And we're essentially a startup today. So we decided to go that route. Not necessarily that's going to stay that way over time. We may bring some of those sales within our fold as we see sales developing. But at the end of the day, I believe that the outsourcing of our product is of, I would say, great value to our stakeholders in the short term. So these two distributors are very important for us. They both capture different types of verticals within the industry. Some are more focused on the first responders and municipal firefighters. Other are more focused on the industrial, commercial, and emergency response, which is U.S. fire pumps. So they're different in nature, but at the same time, they complement each other. In terms of the global or the international side, I alluded a little bit in one of my slides that I was flying to Asia next week to participate in a large and important battery conference. But that's kind of secondary, because I have about 20 meetings with potential end users and potential distributors that are going to occur during that time, and that would be both in Korea and Japan. So I expect to develop those relationships over time, and hopefully we are able to attack that market. So again, the value of that is that our addressable market today will essentially double as we grow into other markets, and the next market after that, hopefully sooner rather than later, would be Europe. And then all of a sudden we go from an addressable market of 1 to 3x, and that's exactly where we want to be over the next 12 months. So that's why we're expanding our, I would say, addressable market with distributors to make it faster and more efficient for us over time.
Thanks, Carlos. If you can flip over to, I think there's a slide in the appendix on the comparison of different applications. There's some questions here on your competitive advantages. In particular, is there anything that battery suppliers can do in the design of battery units to minimize their combustibility?
Yeah, there is. I think a lot of the things that I've been talking to today are, I would say, a reactive approach to a fire, right? I mean, a fire's happening, let's attack it, let's put it out. Okay, there's all the proactive things that can happen along the way, right? So we've had some initial discussions with some OEMs. Granted, they're our very initial stage, where imagine having the cell pack and having a film of our product on top of that, that if there's any temperature, the battery management unit or the battery management system would tell them there's an issue on this cell on this part of the battery, then that liquid that sits on top would essentially flood that part of the battery and stop the fire before it even happens. That is a possibility. Granted that that's going to take a bit longer to happen, because there's a lot of design costs and a lot of design that's going on within every single battery. Batteries are changing all the time, battery designs, battery sizes, and everything. So that's going to take time, but most definitely there is a way to minimize I would say, the issues with the battery, as well as the off gases. I mean, just recently, I think it was CATL that put out a press release saying that they're working their way through the solid state battery. No, solid state battery doesn't have the electrolytes in it. It's a solid state, so meaning that there's no liquid with hexafluoric acid, but it has other concerns. It's more powerful. So if that cell is breached, the fire will be even more powerful. So all these things come with a balance of pros and cons. But I can tell you this: our product is effective on all lithium-ion batteries. It could be an LFP battery, it could be an NMC battery, it could be an NCA battery, it could be a solid-state battery. No lithium-ion battery that we've tested, and we tested all of them, are, I would say it works in every single type of battery. So granted, this question is more towards a medium to long-term solution, which I agree with, that it has to be a proactive approach with the battery manufacturers.
Yeah, and there are old batteries in the market today, right? That are,
Correct.
most of them aren't going to be replaced. Sure, there are recalls from an EV perspective, but at the end of the day, there's still vulnerability out there in the industry. And, at the end of the day, you also need to look at, alternatives and almost requirements and legal requirements for some of these manufacturing facilities to have equipped with, the FCL-X product. So there's a lot of different things to take into account, but a lot of these, topics that you're talking about here, Carlos, these aren't going to be resolved, in the very near term, it seems, at least from my perspective. But that speaks to the opportunity here with FCL-X's product and ultimately your growth moving forward. Another question here, Carlos, is, have you considered or tested a sprinkler type installation where a detector would trigger a response, say from a FCLI storage unit on site before fire department arrival? And
Yeah,
maybe that's
we're
for like a
working.
larger facility. Yeah.
Yeah, we're working with one specific client now. We're working with several. One right now, I can't say the name, but it's not a sprinkler, but it's more of a nozzle, very directed to specific points on this conveyor belt that batteries are moving through. So imagine a nozzle. The problem with sprinklers is that sprinklers have a very low gallons per minute that are coming out of sprinklers, right? So I think that the largest sprinkler that I know is maybe 3 to 5 gallons per minute, if not mistaken. So, to put out a lithium-ion battery fire, you need a lot more gallons per minute if it's an active fire. Now, granted, a sprinkler, what it can do, it can mitigate something before the first responders come in. But when there's an issue, you want a large gallons per minute potential from a nozzle. So in this case that we're working with, we're working with different nozzles along this conveyor belt that essentially can move. The header nozzle can move and attack specific fires, at a much larger rate on a gallons per minute basis. So we have our product. One of the good things about our product, by the way, and maybe I didn't make that clear, is because it's water-based. And if you touch it, it is just kind of like a silky water. It can go through any type of method that can be put out. So it can go through an extinguisher, it can go through any type of hose, it can go through sprinklers, it could be put out with any type of product or method or equipment, which is not necessarily the case when you talk about foam or encapsulating agents or vermiculate or things of that nature. So our product can be done, or I would say used in many different ways. So sprinkler can most definitely be applied. It's just a matter of how is it applied and what's the gallons per minute rate that needs to be applied in order to mitigate fire. Now, granted, if there's a lithium-ion battery fire, you do not want to put water. So that's a given. And what water does is just provides more fuel to the fire. So to that answer, we have considered that. We have tested it. It's just a matter of the facility and what they specifically need to put a fire out. And in most cases that we've seen is that they prefer to have a nozzle approach than a sprinkler approach, because a nozzle approach, they can aim it exactly to where the problem is, whereas the sprinkler is just more diffused over
It's more efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Makes sense. And so what we're seeing on the screen here is a breakdown of some other applications, if you will. This is in the fact sheet that's on the homepage of the company's website. But any high level, I mean, you talked about this mostly, but any high level thoughts?
Well, I mean, there are, a lot of people ask me about competitors, right? And the two larger competitors that we see today is do nothing and water, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's flame retardants, which flame retardants are not extinguishing agents. They're just blankets that get put on top of a fire. Those don't stop the fire. Then there's encapsulator or foam agents, and then aggregates, which are vermiculate and granulate. So as you can see there, they're not very useful for all lithium applications. Yes, there's some that can potentially work, sorry, for small fires, such as your laptop or your phone and things of that nature. But when you apply to larger fires, such as EV vehicles, lithium commercial industrial fires, these would not work. So the capability of extinguishing an active fire is important, and the size is important. The heat dissipation of that fire is extremely important, and the off-gas dissipation, again, is important. And our product excels in those. So when you look at the comparison between our product and everything else out there, that's when you really see the difference. So in our mind, and we've always said this, do nothing is not, it is, I was obviously there, that is an option. But if you talk to any professional in the industry, they don't like that option. They're there to put fires out. And when you do nothing, the fire can jump to another issue. If you have a car in the middle of a parking lot, that car fire can jump to the next car, and then the next car, and the next car. So you do nothing sometimes in some instances is not an option. And putting water on it, it will just add more fuel to the fire. So you need a product that's able to put out fires quickly and efficiently with the minimum amount of liquid. So, I guess the hazardous off ramp of water with high levels of, metals and HF should be minimized. And that's what our product does.
Carlos, some questions here on IP protection. In particular, maybe you can talk a little bit about your trade secrets that put Full Circle in a position that it avoids any sort of reverse engineering of the chemical makeup of FCL-X's powdered product.
Well, it's not, well, yeah, I mean, look, I mean, there's two ways to do your patent or protect your invention. One is to not have a patent and nobody knows what the patent is, but that essentially comes with that word of reverse engineering, right? So if you don't protect your patent, then anybody can reverse engineer. They can buy your product and reverse it and just essentially start selling it. So for example, Coke does that. Coke doesn't have a patent, so you can read, oh, this are the ingredients, but people can theoretically reverse engineer Coke, and that's why you have other Coke products out there similar to Coke, but not exactly the same. What we decided to do is protect our invention. So we do have a patent, and everybody can read it. It's out there. It's still in process, so they haven't given us the patent. We've received favorable, I would say, feedback from the patent offices, so we expect the patent to be given to us. But it is a risk, as any other risk for these types of products. But we want to fight it. We want to make sure that it's protected, and this is what we believe is the best course for us in this case. So that is how we've approached our patent protection.
Thank you for that. And we'll wrap up with the last question here. And Carlos, if you don't mind flipping over to the milestone slide, that'd be great.
Sure.
But yeah, can you reiterate the milestones here that investors can look forward to, and then we'll look to wrap this up?
Well, I think at the end of the day, what people want to see is proof of the pudding, meaning sales, right? I mean, and that's going to happen over, going to see some results in Q1 that already ended at the end of January for us, but the significant sales growing from there into the end of the year, which is October 31st for us. But if you look at it on a fiscal year basis, just the year 2025, you're going to see increased sales on different verticals that we expect to, penetrate, which that would include the first responders market, or firefighters and fire stations and the fire industry professionals. We're going to grow into the commercial industrial side. We're going to most likely have a product on the retail side. So new product and commercialization of that regionally in North America will be our main focus. However, you're going to see some growth outside of North America, hopefully this year in 2025, and we expect to have certain news for that over the next quarter or two. So hopefully that will also be something that people can look for. But at the end of the day, it's sales, and that's going to happen over this year. We're going to make sure to keep our stakeholders informed when that happens. If we have a large sale, or if we have a pretty an important end user that we sign up, that would be something that we will most likely announce over time. So some of these things you're going to see over this year. So that's it. I mean, it's a very simple story, which is great to tell. The product is not simple; it's a complicated product. But at the end of the day, it's sales, growth of addressable market, and growth of product and commercialization efforts, both regionally and global.
Everybody, thanks for joining. Symbols are FCLI and FCLIF. The survey, investor survey, and the recording will be sent out shortly. The recording will be posted on the website at fullcirclelithium.com. If you guys have any questions that we have not addressed, ir@fullcirclelithium.com so management can review and respond to accordingly. Again, that's ir@fullcirclelithium.com. Thanks again. That concludes today's presentation. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. You're now free to disconnect.
Thank you very much.